I'm going to show that inside the New Testament, in the book of Matthew, this is a quote from Jesus himself. That's the hero of the story, the Messiah, which the Christians call the Son of God. He comes to his students that he gathered from the street, as the New Testament tells us the story. And this is what he says: do not think that I came to contradict the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to contradict. I came to fulfill. I am telling you today, if heaven and earth will be destroyed, you can still not erase one letter from the Torah, which they call the Old Testament. Not even apart from the letter. If you're going to change one letter in the Torah and teach it, you modify the Torah and teach it to others, you're going to be cursed in the kingdom of heaven, which means God is going to curse you. For sure, you cannot be a holy person if you're going to change the Torah. As we review the rest of the books, the evangelists, Mark, John, Matthew, Luke, we're going to find that he allowed his students to do serious violations against the Old Testament. You just came and say that God gave two books, the same God, part 1, part 2. You have to agree that God does not contradict himself. God does not have problems with memory. God remembers all the details from the first story. It's impossible that now the second book will contradict completely part 1. So for instance, the part 1 says that everybody has to observe the Sabbath. They have to do it. They have to be very careful not to violate any one of the rules of the Sabbath. It's a covenant between God and the nation of Israel. And he came to say, you're not allowed, I did not come to contradict, I just came to continue. Obviously, he allowed the student to violate the rules of the Sabbath. And when they ask him, how do you do such a thing? He says, I am the master of the Sabbath. As we're reviewing the New Testament, I said before that the Muslims, Quran did not give any prophecies. Did Christianity give any prophecies? In the actual New Testament you don't find prophecies. But the Christian church, from the beginning of Christianity until today, always claimed that the Jews will never return to the Holy Land. After the second temple was destroyed, they figured that if God destroyed the temple twice, there will not be a third chance. And they wrote in their books that the Jews will not return to the Holy Land. Were they right about what they wrote? The answer is absolutely not. You see, millions of Jews are living in Israel. So the Jews return to the Holy Land. Not like they predicted. Not only that, if we continue to read in the New Testament, we're going to find serious contradiction. For instance, the Old Testament, the Torah, say that Abraham bought the cave from Ephron. That's the story. Where is the cave? It's in Hebron. Where did they bury Jacob, the grandson of Abraham? They buried him in the cave in Hebron. Who is the father of Shem according to the Torah? Hamor is the father of Shem. How many Jews were the family of Jacob when they went to Egypt? They were still used to be in Hebrews before the Torah was given. 70 members altogether Jacob took with him to Egypt. But when we review Christianity, we're going to find very interesting contradiction. In Acts 7, this is what it says. Jacob and his children went to Egypt. They died over there. And then they took them to Nablus, not to Hebron, to Nablus, and buried them over there in the cave that Abraham bought from the children of Hamor in Nablus. Two critical mistakes in one verse in the New Testament. Then Jacob was never buried with his children in Nablus. If any, he was buried, as the Torah says, in Hebron. God did not forget where Jacob was buried. It's impossible. Plus, it's impossible because in the Torah it says that Abraham bought the cave from Ephron. And in the New Testament, whoever wrote it made a critical mistake. He wrote that he bought it from Hamor. Hamor is not Ephron, it's two different people completely. Then, it says that Jacob sent to call his father and their family to come to Egypt. He sent them an invitation, and when they came to Egypt, they came 75 people. What happened to God? He forgot history? In the Torah it says 70. All of a sudden in the New Testament it says 75. This is just a typical mistake. There are many, many other mistakes. That's not the full topic tonight. We do not want to focus too many of those mistakes. I just use it as an example to show how it takes 5 minutes to prove that a book that so many people are follow, it's actually full of human errors. It's impossible that God gave those two religions.